Trump went about campaigning the way he had built his business, by swinging a sledgehammer. It wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. Trump ridiculed the political elites, made fun of them, humiliated them. Things you were not allowed to do. Who can forget these moments?
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell. I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness.
This is a tough business to run for president.
I know. You're a tough guy, Jeb.
And we need to have a leader that is real tough. You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the presidency.
Let's see. I'm at 42 and you're at 3, so far I'm doing better.
Doesn't matter.
So far I'm doing better.
So if you don't get an actual check from the Mexican government for $8 or $10 or $12 billion, whatever it will cost, how are you going to make them pay for the wall?
I will, and the wall just got 10 feet taller, believe me. It's got 10 feet taller.
Classic. Classic. You remember those moments. And the permanent political class in our country do too. They're so weak. They're so feeble, they're so Fabergé, so translucent-skinned and frightened of being made fun of. That's exactly what Trump did. And they crumbled when he did it. They folded and ran. Trump got the nomination, and then he continued his warpath against the queen of corruption herself, the absolute embodiment of the permanent political establishment, Hillary Clinton. Can you forget these moments?
Well, at least I have a plan to fight ISIS.
No, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
No, we're not.
See, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do. No wonder you've been fighting ISIS your entire adult life.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
That's part of my commitment to raise taxes on the wealthy. My Social Security payroll contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund by making...
We have a situation in this country that has to be taken care of. I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted. As soon as she releases them, I will release my tax returns, and that's against my lawyers.
Love him or hate him, Trump called the political establishment out. He called their corruption out to their faces, literally their faces. He gave America a different fighting flavor of politics, and America loved it. The elites did not, obviously. So they did everything they could to sabotage the campaign of a man who was humiliating them, including openly lying to the American public. That's their specialty, by the way, openly lying.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump.
Trump will not be president.
Trump will never be elected president of the United States.
You're not going to be president.
A man who will never be president of the United States.
Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States. Take it to the bank.
He will never be president.
Donald Trump is not going to become president of the United States.
As always, your elites were wrong. They lied to you. The polls lied to you, and the experts know nothing. It's why so many of Hillary Clinton's election night victory party looked like their hearts had just been ripped out of their chests and their world destroyed, because they had been lied to. This is what it looks like when you believe the lies of the political class. Take a look.
So different than it was a few hours ago when people were happy and relaxed. There are people who are just in shock, and they are just stunned at the idea that they were completely sure they were coming to this event to celebrate Hillary Clinton becoming the first female president, and now they are confronting the reality that they could be walking out of here perhaps expecting that Donald Trump is going to become president.
Georgia, Iowa, Utah, Wisconsin.
Hillary Clinton has called Donald Trump to concede the race.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated.
Still makes me laugh. Iconic. And that's how you got President Trump. In case you wondered, that's how you got Trump. Trump entered office and began immediately making fools of the establishment. Again, why stop now? This time he had the authority of the executive branch behind him. This is not a comprehensive list, by the way, but these are a list of Trump administration accomplishments. 7 million new jobs, lowest unemployment in U.S. history, no new wars, ISIS destroyed, terrorist leaders killed, U.S. embassy moved to Jerusalem, peace in the Middle East, American prisoners freed abroad by the dozens, confirmed 230 federal judges, 3 Supreme Court judges, gutted Obamacare, shredded the Paris Climate Accord, nuked the Iran deal, energy independence, cut gas prices in half, Dow Jones, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ at record highs, record home ownership, record low poverty, 16% pay increase for American workers, better border security than I have ever had in my entire life. Donald Trump made life better for Americans. That's indisputable. But also for billions of human beings around the globe. Global poverty and hunger plunged while Trump was president. Amazing what can happen when you don't start new wars and when you stabilize the world's largest economy. Trump stopped the communists, even for just a little bit. And the D.C. establishment's reaction to this wild success? There you go, the horror, rip it up, shred it. That was a list of Trump's accomplishments, by the way, in case you were wondering what Nancy was shredding. Why? Because in a few short months, Trump solved the problems they had been promising America they would solve for a generation. That was the game. Permanent problems. Trump had no stomach for it, and the elites had no stomach for Trump. Fixing these problems so quickly, so easily, the American public may grow to demand such efficiency in their government, and that would be a disaster. Even worse, celebrities were endorsing Trump, historic numbers of minorities approved of Trump, and peace had broken out where there was once permanent war. The president was winning the culture, and that was what scared them the most. Remember these moments at the national championship football game and the Daytona 500 with millions and millions watching. The packed stadiums broke into uproarious applause for their president. Listen to this. Listen to the crowd. Listen to the roars. This was a tectonic shift in culture. The house of cards was falling. Trump, against all odds, was the first real threat to the global established order in a century, and people loved him for it. Trump is loved. Trump is loved by real people, real voters, packed into his events, waited days to see him. Days. Why? What inspired this adoration? Well, first, Trump was the first politician to listen to their needs, the needs of a majority of Americans. Americans from unfashionable towns who worked with their hands. Trump heard them, and his policies reflected that he heard them. Trump put border security, deregulation, support of our military, police, and the building of the American economy at the top of his administration's priority lists. No other politician in a generation has been more beloved by his base. That is indisputable. Here are the crowds awaiting President Obama in 2020. Have a look. And here are what the crowds look like that greeted Trump upon his arrival in Florida after a very rough departure from the presidency. These people don't care. They love him anyway. Trump was the first person who listened to them and did something about it in a generation. Ultimately, our permanent political establishment hate Donald Trump for gaining something they will never have, the respect of you, the respect of the American people. Trump got it, and that's why 11 million more people voted for him this cycle, including a growing number of minorities, young people, and women. They're not going away, And this poses an existential threat to the political elite. They live in a paralyzed terror of a movement, our movement, winning again. That is why they want to desperately destroy it. We are too dangerous to their monopoly on power. So the elites took a lesson from every evil dictator in history. Differing opinions must not be tolerated. Dissent is criminal. Silence is our only option unless you want to be sent to the reprogramming and internment camps that they're promising. Yeah, here's the problem. This movement is made up of people, Americans, with rights. It's not one man. It's 75 million patriots strong, the largest movement, arguably, in American history. This is why it's so important to keep America First going, to keep our movement going, and we will. The greatest fear of the political class is not necessarily a second term of Donald J. Trump, but a second term of the movement he represents, of us. It was never about Trump, guys. It was about you and me and all of us. Be proud of what we've accomplished. We're just getting started. We'll continue to highlight the Trump administration's accomplishments when we come back.